Hello, welcome. Right, the recording software I use finally fixed their Windows 11 bug, and I can use it on the PC again. So hopefully that will make it easier to do more regular videos for the rest of this month. Let's get into it. This is the daily loop. Right, no transfer bids. So this guy, I think we're happy to rotate out. I think because he's passing in vision, it's okay, but it's not great. Finishing, it's okay, it's not great. Dribbling is great. Aerial ability is not good. I think on the whole, we're just happy to speculate for someone who could be great. This guy, I think we're just happy to move away from. Finishing miles away. Composure is good, but finishing just not even on the radar. And speed is okay, but again, just we got him in because they're the best we've seen so far this month. But we're happy to move away from them. This guy, I think the parrying wasn't too great, but the shot stopping is soon. Determination super high. We do need a keeper, so we just want to bear that in mind. This guy, again, like the passing is better. I'd rather speculate on this guy, I think, and move the other MC out. This guy, passing miles away, the vision is super good. Probably, again, would rather just speculate on this guy. So I think at the moment the priorities here are moving. Oh, let's look at the last guy we got here. And this guy, speed soon, finishing very high. Long shot's not particularly good. So I think as far as priorities are concerned, it's these two. That this one in particular, and then we'll worry about it. Depends on the position, because there's only so many. If it's a striker in particular, we want to move the striker out. If it's an MC, you want to move the MC out, sort of thing. This guy, finishing too low. We can speculate on this guy. Marking's decent, speed's really good. We can speculate on him, probably will do so. It's not good enough from what we see, not good enough from what we see. Tackling's okay. Long shot's not great. Passing, long shots and finishing are low, doesn't really matter. White rate, it doesn't matter too much. I mean, it matters, whatever. Everything matters, that's the thing, but it's... I think we could go for this guy at the end of the day. Here, the tackling is good, and then you've got natural fitness, yeah, it matters a bit. But whatever, speed we care about, determination we care about, passing we care about. So we have this sort of ABCD, they're all sort of key, and we can get a bit of more of a picture. We probably will just move him in for this MC straight away. This guy, I think it's a bit... It's got good aerial. We could speculate on this guy as well, because a lot of the key stuff, the passing, the tackling, it's not quite as soon, and the determination, but it is stuff that's sooner rather than later. I think we probably will just put him in for the striker here. So all of a sudden, 2 DCs in. Well, is this another guy who's got good tackling, good aerial? Determination is lower, but again, the speed, the passing, he's coming up. The aerial ability is decent. We could put him in as well. Potentially instead of this guy, because the passing is just miles off. That 3 DCs in all of a sudden. That's the thing. I don't know if we want 3 DCs necessarily. Let's just check out our U squad for a second. Just see. So we got 3 DCs excess, 2 MCs excess. So really the only positions we don't particularly want here are MCs and DCs. So that's worth bearing in mind. That's... I think because his determination's only 12, I think we'll pass on this one. I think the other keeper we've got is better. think we just pass on this guy again. He's just I'd rather go for the other two DCs. This guy, 31 speed, 17 tackling. I say things like this. It's not, for example, when I say things like that, sorry, it's not that 31 speed, it's like a decisive factor in regards to, like, I'm looking at lots of things, but I'm just thinking, oh yeah, finishing is soon, we could wait for that. Determination is soon, we could wait for that. Determination is a long way, sorry, composure is a long way away. We care about the passing, that's a bit of a ways off. Aerial ability matters, that's a long, but, you know, we could wait, but the speed is only 31, it's not worth waiting. Basically, if the speed was 60, maybe we wait, sort of thing. So, this guy, bit of a different story. He has got really good finishing. He's got really good aerial ability. His speed is next. His passing is low. I'm happy to speculate on this guy. We'll see. This guy's got very good passing, good speed. We'll probably bring this guy in. This guy, we'll just won't because we'd rather speculate on the other striker because his speed is a long way off. This guy, I think the keeper we've got is better, and this guy, okay, so all of a sudden there's actually two more guys we'd like to get in. I think one of them can come in for this guy because his passing is just too far off. And I think the other one can come in for this guy just because speed, aerial ability, finishing, sort of key things that we care about are miles off. He has got 48 overall though, we've got to consider that. That's super high. What we might do, because I do think we want to bring this striker in. So the options are either this striker, but we need a striker more than we need an MC or a DC. So it probably makes more sense. I think this guy we just probably, because he's just so high overall, we just got to see how it pans out. And then this guy, he's got crossing, doesn't really matter. Marking, yeah, control, okay, C, D. We care about the tackling. It's a ways off in the finishing. They're a ways off, but they're not too far, and the aerial ability and the determination. So I think it's either him from the two MCs or from the two DCs. It's this guy for sure because we don't know the tackling. So let's bring him in for that guy. Okay. Whew. So I think in the because it is early in the month, so I think we'll just double check because there's some other players down here that we're happy with. It was actually a very good day, by the way. It's very rare that we change nearly every player here. Maybe not the keeper, but everyone. I don't know. It's pretty close. I think we changed 4 of the 6. So I think we'll just double check because we've got a lot of options. I think what I'm looking for is players who the attributes that are to be revealed in the coming days could eliminate them. They're sort of decisive ones. So this guy, it is true because it's the speed and determination. This guy is true because there's speed. Very next, straight away. And then other stuff that matters soon after, long shots, it's to some degree determination. But anyway, the speed is immediate, that could eliminate him. This guy, the shot stopping and the handling, they're both key. This guy, long shots matters a bit. Control matters quite a bit. Crossing doesn't really matter. Work rate matters for us. Agility. So this guy, that's not true for, I would say, like the other ones. But he has got 48 overall, which is ridiculously high. And he's looking okay, as in like he's got 53 passing, basically, and good enough tackling. This guy, crossing doesn't matter. Marking, control, endurance is going to matter, I guess. but tackling. So I think it's the tackling really like that's going to be the one that. So this he hasn't got quite a bid for a while that could just eliminate him straight out. I don't think until the tackling comes up. And this guy has the composure, which could if it's really low, and the speed could. So this guy. So I think in particular, it's the two MCs, but their MCs I think are a bit generally less true, at least for us, because we sort of want box-to-box midfielders typically, or midfielders that can do a bit of everything. So as long as they can pass to some degree, like we're flexible to some degree on everything else. And these guys can both pass. That's the thing. So I think that's that flexibility on everything else that's is sort of the reasoning there. All right, moving on. Scouter players. At the moment, what we can recap a little bit what's happened on the transfers, just so we know since the first video. Transfers. So we actually, I think on the first video this month, we made a bid for this guy and we won it. We said we thought we would, and we did. Now, how good is this guy exactly? Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why we won him. I think, like we said, he's just well-rounded. Like, he's not really fast, but he's not slow. He's not really strong, but he's strong. He doesn't have really good work rate, but it's good enough. And I think this speed and work rate is a good sort of combination. His endurance is a bit low, which is worth bearing in mind. And natural fitness, like we probably are going to regularly have to sub him off. His aerial ability is not great, but it's good enough. Like, tackling is not great, but it's good enough. Passing and vision is generally pretty good. And again, the finishing isn't great, but it's good. I think that here he's just very well rounded, and that's kind of what we want. So one thing, I don't know if we noticed at the time when we bid for him, but I'm noticing it now, is that it is definitely a factor that we'll have to sub him off pretty much every match. That's quite a downside, to be honest. Not sure if we noticed that at the time. Be interesting to go back and have a quick look. Obviously, I think this is the next video after that one. So if you're watching this and you watch the, it's probably uploaded the following day. So it might be more, for me, I think 4 or 5 days have elapsed, 4 days have elapsed, something like that. So can't quite remember. Right, and then the other thing that's happened in the transfers is that we had a player out that of note. We sold our backup keeper, like our youth backup keeper that we just got given, because we didn't have enough keepers for the youth. We just sold him for whatever. It wasn't really anything of note. And then we sold this guy. He was one of our graduates, but he was one of our very first batch, and he didn't end up playing much. Just a couple of matches off the few, I don't know how many, handful of matches off the bench. He wasn't starting. He wasn't going to start. We're starting younger players who have more upside, so he wasn't really going to play this again for the youth. He wasn't really going to make the cut, basically. So in all likelihood, obviously it was still possible because he had a decent ceiling. It was still possible he might have, but just not likely. So we got a decent offer, 1.4 million. So we just sold him. Right. Now let's look at scouter players. Interestingly, he's pretty... If we needed a key... We sort of do need a keeper. I think he's 20 though. What is our starting keeper? 19. I don't know. To be honest, is this guy realistically going to make the cut anyway? It's a question we got to ask ourselves at this point. Because this guy's pretty good. 45.63. So this guy does have a higher ceiling. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. Sorry about that. I just had to pause the video for a second and get a drink. Yeah, so this is a weird one because I think he is an upgrade. I think the shot stopping, the handling, the parrying is all pretty good. We could buy him. He is only 138k. There's no... I don't know if there's a lot of point unless we're going to use him. I don't think this guy... He has got a training option up. Okay, shot stopping an extra 5. That's a big deal. Let's just buy this guy. He's not that expensive. I'll just check the other keepers that are 21 in case. No, we'll just buy this guy, I think. Well, we'll come back. We'll see at the end, just in case. It's unlikely the money's going to be an issue, to be honest, but it could be on the auctions list. Let's just keep looking. So, just need to remember, we'll just buy him if there's nothing else. This guy, yeah. Maybe, I don't know if we need the depth, but this guy's sort of decent. I don't think we need the... I don't think he's more decent for... we'll come back to him. We'll just keep looking. Same as this guy's decent. I think I'd rather go for the other guy because this one is 2 years younger, lower wages, high finishing, high speed. This guy's more well-rounded though. You can see he's 4, but I think I'd rather go for the... I mean, he's got really low composure. Anyway, I don't think we'll end up going for either, but we'll come back to that. So we look at our senior squad. I think the issue is we've just... Well, one, if they're not better than this guy, we definitely wouldn't consider them. I don't know if either of them are materially better than this guy anyway, so let's just not bother. Basically. And then I think we're pretty much saying this guy is always going to be starting over them in that role. And then if he's injured, we're going to start this guy in that role. So if they're both out, then, you know, we probably don't play an AMC anyway. We probably play 2 strikers because we've got too many strikers. So I think that's... we'll pass on him. Let's go to the auctions and just remember to come back for that keeper. I think what we really need is a wide midfielder more than anything. So this guy can play both. That's ideal, but his passing isn't enough. Other than that, though, he's pretty well deep. Like, we probably could go for him if his passing was like, well, high. If it was high, if it was like 80 or something, we probably would go for him. I don't really need a DC. Just, anyways, because of that, I think we're just going to generally check the passing. We're okay to add a position if we need to the player. So this guy can. I just think, though, we want to be able to tackle and finish and have speed, strength, dribbling, crossing. Basically all the stuff that this guy doesn't have. think these guys are a bit old for us to... Maybe not, but obviously they're getting older as we keep going. I mean, maybe this guy... I think we'll wait. We only get to basically buy one guy or close to it, so I think we'll wait. It's on this basis. It's quite a the day before. There's not that many today, but there was loads yesterday. Went like more than double this amount, I reckon. Players that went on auction. Alright, so let's go back to our scouter players and we'll just get this guy, I think. And then I think that basically means we can just immediately sell this guy because we just don't want to pay his wages. Right, let's go to the training options. Now I purposely wasn't picking them knowing that we'd do a video at some point and I could do all the training options in the video. So right, this guy, he's starting, probably just want the one with the finishing, but let's just check to be sure. 4s, 5s, 3s. Okay, so it's this one anyway. This one's just a bit better. This is our new MC, I think, that we paid up for. Yeah, so agility, determination, one. He gets the extra passing on this side, but I think it's ultimately the passing we care about the most, but I think it's ultimately the other side because this is basically an agility, 2 agility difference. So 2 agility, 2 determination and long shots, or 1 passing. So I just think it's the other stuff edges that out a bit. Marking, positioning, probably take the marking and positioning for the DC. Cabrera, striker, both got +3 speed. Finishing, probably take the finishing, the dribbling, the strength. This one has got aerial ability and tackling, but we'll probably take this one. Octai. Don't really care about movement, don't care about crossing, don't really care about flair, don't really care about work rate. So this side goes up 4 overall, this side moves up 4 overall points. Alright, let's try and think about what really doesn't matter at all. The movement really doesn't matter at all. And the crossing really doesn't matter at all. But unfortunately, that still leaves it with +1 on each side. So I think the question is, would you rather 2 flair or 2 work? Ooh, 2 flair or 2 work rate? I think that's the question. It's probably the 2 work rate. Alright, another DC. Movement doesn't really matter, dribbling matters a bit, aerial ability matters. So I think we're just going to take the extra marking point, the 2 extra aerial ability. Basically, that's kind of the lens. I think it's 2 aerial ability and a marking versus 2 dribbling. It's going to be this side. For him, right, new player. Is he going to be the up and back one or just the attacking one? His tackling's pretty low, so it's probably going to be the more attacking wide midfielder. That's what he would end up being. So we care about finishing, crossing, strength, speed, agility. It's ultimately this one though. Alright, easy. were starting this guy, so it's a shame to not get those determination points, because is he starting again at the moment? Yeah, so he would be starting. So ideally we would get those determination points, because that will matter a lot, but I think the other side's just too good with that extra passing, extra point of finishing, extra work rate, a lot of the stuff we care a lot about for the MC. So another DC, tackling, natural fitness and endurance, but right, I think this guy's a bit interesting because I don't know what he ends up being longer term, because his tackling isn't really good enough. I think this was just a guy we had with our academy trials last month. Right at the end, we had on the last day or the second last day, we had a player that had an attribute revealed that made him really bad, and then we just had to bring in the best player we could, which was him. So he's not going to play. Trying to work out what he could ever be. I mean, 62 overall, it's not. But 38 overall is pretty high. So he could be something. I'm just trying to work out what. I mean, it could be a DC ultimately. I think it's more likely he'll end up being a DMC, to be honest. So let's pick on that basis. Maybe even an MC. He has got 60 passing. So let's think more about a midfielder, a defensive type of midfielder. Whether he's an MC that's more defensive. So we care about the natural fitness and endurance, but they've both got 5 points here overall. So let's just ignore that and focus the rest. Determination is the same. Let's ignore that and focus the rest. So it's 3 points in control, or 1 point in crossing, which you don't care about, and 1 point in tackling. I think it's ultimately this one, actually, because you care about the control if he's a midfielder. Plus you get the contract extension if he does end up being good. Right, get back to training. The keeper we just bought, 5 shot stopping. We didn't check the options, we just checked that this had 5 shot stopping and immediately assumed we'd pick it. So let's just pick it. Right, this guy's now plateauing. So he's only, I think we're going to take this one. It's still an upwards movement of 1. I think that's something that a lot of people probably don't quite realise, is that even when this looks like the player's going really downhill, in actual fact, he's still moved up 1 attribute point from this training option. And we might take this guy as a case study, if we remember, for the rest of the month, just because for over the course of his 3 training options. But you know, even though this looks really bad, he's still actually moved up 1 attribute point. Obviously, on the whole, based on this 1 boost alone, I think the player's probably slightly worse. But I think over the course of the 3 training options, he's still going to get better overall, I'm pretty sure, this month. But anyway, we're taking this one. Alright, this guy was playing... He was playing the creative forward. Care about the strength. He did play quite a bit, so don't really care about the control. Don't really care about the crossing. I guess it's this one on the whole. I think it's this one. Just did a quick count. I think this one's like 17 points. This one's 15. I think the dribbling, I think this one, the crossing doesn't matter too much for this player, so I think I'd rather just take the dribbling. The work rate doesn't matter a lot either. Dribbling does. Cardelis, right, probably the finishing and the long shots is more. Vision is a bit less, moving a bit less, flare a bit less, but I think it's this one. We just want that extra finishing. Pastore, He was playing... What's his role in our youth team? Is he starting? Yeah, starting wide right on the up and back role. Up and back wide midfielder. So we care... Okay, so tackling is same. We care about tackling, care about dribbling. Determination, he's starting, so we care about that. Composure, endurance. Okay, I think it's just pretty close, to be honest. +2, +1, +2. I think we'll just take this one though. It's pretty close. Don't want to. Why am I just taking this one? So you can kind of like, well, one is starting, so the extra point of determination matters. The endurance, ideally, but the aerial ability, the 2 points in aerial ability isn't insignificant here. The endurance would be nice. Don't care too much about the positioning because he's just running up and back anyway. The composure's okay as well. It's quite nice. So I think mostly it's because I'm not too bothered about the positioning point because he's just sort of running up and back anyway. So you're kind of basically saying that everything else I do care about to some degree though. So, but that's sort of saying this side's basically, if you say that you don't even care about this positioning point, then this side's got 3 total attribute points higher. I think in the end is the reason why is that right? 16, 11, 14, 15, 19 versus 2, 4, 5, 10, 16. So it's 19 versus 16. But if you're saying you don't really care about the positioning, then it's 18 versus 14. So I think that's right. Anyway, it's more on this side. This player, what would his role be? Probably the up and back role because he's got 57 tackling. So with that in mind, we care about the passing, we care about the vision, we care about the endurance a lot, we care about the aerial ability, but I don't think we want to pass up the 3 tackling points. Basically. And in the immediate term, his role will probably just be coming off the bench anyway. So the endurance, it's nice long term for sure, but I think this side is just too, it's 9 points here. This side is, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14. So it's just, yeah. The endurance isn't insignificant there, but made me think a bit. If it wasn't for that, it wouldn't even be any thought involved. I think this guy is just not in the picture. S5E02. Yeah, he's just not in the picture. So what would he doesn't have good. He's going to be more attacking in nature if he has any future. So we care about the passing, the long shots. Probably just going to take these extra passing points, I guess. Right, striker doesn't have that great a finishing, but he's quite well rounded. Can't really pass. So I think we're just taking this side because it's got the extra point in finishing and long shots. Which he's just going to need, basically, to every point he can get to have any chance of a future. Right, this guy, he comes on to hold closeout matches in the destroyer role. So he's not... The endurance, obviously, is really low and he could do with those extra points, but it's not that big a deal because he's only ever coming off the bench anyway. Care about the passing and the vision. The marking's going to matter a bit. Care about the speed a bit. Let's just go with this one. And this is why it's important to know the role for players. Where is he? The DMC... here because because his endurance is so low anyway, he's never going to start anyway, so he's only ever going to come off the bench. So once you exclude this big differential in the endurance from the equation, then the decision becomes much easier that it's this side. Lorena, he's just a goal scorer basically. very similar options. So we're saying 1 work rate versus 2 vision. It's probably the 2 vision. Okay. Got there in the end. So yeah, I think we're done for the day. So we did buy 1 player, picked a bunch of training options. And yeah, we got some matches to play. So yeah, cheers. Thanks for watching. We'll get some of those played.